My name is Cooper Dragonette, and I'm one of the artists at Portland Art Gallery. And I am always thrilled to work with the Portland Art Gallery, and I'm so happy to be one of their artists. They're a fantastic gallery located in the center of Portland, Maine. I have been an artist in the Portland, Maine area for some time. It's been a lot of years. My first show in Portland was at a little gallery in the center of Congress Square that is now a Starbucks coffee shop. But at the time, it was the gallery in town. I was thrilled then to have an opening with them. I don't think anything sold, but it was really my first introduction into feeling what it was like to be a real working artist. And it's been a process for sure since that first opening. There's been a lot of paintings that have ended up on walls, but there's probably been a number of them that have ended up in the dumpster as well. And that's just part of the process of being a painter, I think. You know, you make a painting and you think it's great, and then you take a second look at it and you realize, no, it's all wrong. It's probably a lot like writing in that sense, that you write and then you rewrite and you edit and you correct and you erase. And painting is a lot of the same process. There's definitely correlations between the two. But it's been a long time since I've been able to call myself a painter. And when I first started as an artist, it was hard to tell people that I was an artist. I wasn't making a lot of money at the time. It didn't feel like it was my true profession at the time. But I had to get comfortable with telling people, yeah, I'm an artist. I'm a painter. One time I was visiting with my wife and her family down in Florida. And we happened to go out to dinner one night with a number of her parents' friends. And it was at that point that I realized that I had married into the mob. After dinner, chatting with a number of the guys, the question finally came up, what do you do for work? And I said, I'm a painter, to which they said, do you do interiors or exteriors? And I had to admit that I was not that kind of a painter, that I was an artist. The long story is that they liked art, they liked collecting art, and some of the art that they had collected had been missing for over 40 years. What I paint is really what I know, and what I know is the beauty that surrounds me here in Maine. For a long time, I worked as a sailing instructor for the Hurricane Island Outward Bound School. That was really the introduction to Maine that made the biggest and most lasting impression on me. The first time I set foot in a boat and sailed around the coast of Maine, I don't think we ever got very far from the dock, but it was like being in Africa. I had no idea where we were. I didn't know which way was north, south, east, west. When the fog came in, I was really lost. Over time, I got to know the coast of Maine really well. In many ways, better than my hometown. I knew the names of islands and boats and ledges. I knew the depths of the water. I could get around without a chart for a lot of my career, just because I knew it so well. And I think I knew it well because I loved it. And working for the Outward Bound, we were out in it a lot. We were up early and we would go to bed late. We would often be up before the sun rose, and we would oftentimes still be awake when the sun came up again the next morning. And in that time, we saw everything. We saw beautiful sunsets. We saw the fog. We saw storms, outer islands. We saw coastal communities. Everything that the coast of Maine had to offer, we got to see up close and personal. We set foot on islands that I don't know how else you would get to them other than sailing in a funny little boat, rowing up to it and stepping off. But it was a big part of the work that I make today. This painting behind me is not far from those memories and those impressions that the coast of Maine made on me. There was a sunset once way out on Matinicus Island, just stunning, stunning sunset. I always joke with the other instructor that saw it with me that we will never see a better sunset. And at the time, we had a group of students on our boat. I think we'd been out for a couple of weeks, and somehow they had brought a Bible on board. I don't really remember how that got to be there. They decided that was the night that they were going to do Bible studies. And so they all got under the tarp after dinner and started reading the Bible. And we were outside watching this incredible sunset, cleaning up dinner. And I know that one of us said to the other guy, they should come out here. He's here now. It was just the most remarkable sunset. And I don't know that if I had been maybe on shore or at my home, that it would have been so remarkable. We were out almost as far out as you can get on the coast of Maine and still be on an island, sitting on an anchor, nobody around, just the Maine wilderness. It was amazing. I look for it every time now I see a sunset. It's the one I compare all the other sunsets to. But now I live in a more urban setting. I live in Cape Elizabeth. And my days are filled with, well, I get to paint a lot. That's a great part of my day. But a lot of my day is filled with logistics and running errands and taking care of two mostly teenage boys, running things back to the school that they forgot or picking them up after school to take them to soccer practices, running to the dump, going to the grocery store. And so I don't have those experiences like I did when I worked for Outward Bound. An Outward Bound course might have been 30 days. And that was a lifetime of memories in those 30 days, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 4 weeks. It made an impression. And I just don't have those experiences now. I don't see those sunsets from the kitchen while I'm making dinner, or I don't usually get up before sunrise quite as often as I did back when. So a lot of my work still is based on that experience, that time, those memories. And a lot of times now I try to pair up reality with my imagination, with my memory. And so people will often ask me, well, where's that painting from? And they'll say, it looks like this place or that place. And I'll say, yeah, it could be there. It might be that. I'm almost trying to be less specific now with where these corners of the Maine coast might be. It's more about memories and experiences and allowing the viewer to interpret it for themselves, to find their own location and special meaning. I continue to paint what I paint because that's what I know. And I really did get to know the coast of Maine well. I'd like to think that I could go back there now today and pick up where I left off, that I wouldn't run aground because I forgot a rock was there, or that I could step ashore on one island and know which path let me go to which place, that I would remember all the names and remember how to get around. I don't know if that would really happen anymore, but it feels true. And I guess that's why I continue to paint it. It feels true, feels like it's a part of me, and that means that it's okay for me to paint. And I suppose that's why I don't paint so often when I travel. I'm not going to paint a scene that I've seen. That to me is just scenery, or it's a pretty view. This place feels like home, and it feels like it's mine somehow. And that's what I'm trying to share with the viewers, is that time and that experience and that connection.